everybody, this is Bobby with Bobby Stamps. I've got a beautiful grungy card that I'm going to show you how to make today. I just love the distressed grunge look, whatever you want to call it. I just love that when it's used on cards. Can you guys see it? And I did the second and the third layer too. So let's get started. I'll go over the list of supplies that you're going to need to make the card. We're going to need Mint Macron cardstock. And this is cut at 3 3/4 by 4, I believe was the size of that. Then I've got a piece of Very Vanilla, and this piece is cut at 3 3/4 by 5. Another piece of Mint Macron for our second layer, and it's 4 by 5 1/4. And Tip Top Taupe is our base, and it's 5 1/2, and then scored at 4 1/4. We'll just lay that out of the way. We're going to need some pearls. And as you can see, mine is very, very loved. I'm almost out. We're going to use the stamp set, Dragonfly Dreams. We're not going to really use the stamp much. It's just the sentiment to a wonderful friend. But we are going to use the detailed Dragonfly Thinlits. And then, of course, Timeless Texture. Who cannot live without the stamp set? It's amazing. Mint Macron ribbon we're going to use. Our ink is Tip Top Taupe and Mint Macron. You're going to need snips, you're going to need a sponge or a finger dauber, and in this case I'm using both. Fine tip glue pen, you don't have to have it, but it's easier. And then our brush, it makes it easier too, you don't have to have it, it just makes it easier. And of course you're going to need the Big Shot, but for right now we're going to just leave that out of the camera range, so I don't have to lug it over here. So the first thing that we're going to start out doing is, let me grab a piece of grid paper so I don't get my paper all messy here. Let's go ahead and grab our card base and we'll give it a fold and just score it over. Put a nice crease in it. And then grab my mat. I think I already have a piece of cardstock. Oh, that's for stamping off on. So we'll just use this. And I'm going to go ahead, make sure that you guys can see. I'm going to just open up my stamp set and put it there. We're going to start with Tip Top Taupe. And we're going to stamp off each time before, oh, I just got that on my, no, I didn't. Good job. Okay, so we're going to stamp off, so that's what this piece of paper is for, because I don't want, it's called second generation stamping. We don't want it to be so bright. So I'm going to ink it up, stamp off, and then put it on the cardstock. And you can just do this randomly throughout the card. And on this one, we're just going to do the edges because it's going to be covered up with the second and third layer. So just go around and do your edges on this one, okay? And I think I'm gonna just do this like so, okay? And then we'll just move that one out of the way. And then I'm gonna go ahead, since we have Tip Top Taupe open, and we'll just bring in our piece of Very Vanilla. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna stamp off and then stamp on our cardstock. And you just always want to make sure that you're turning your flowers, or you know, whatever it is that you're using, so that way you're not getting everything's not going in the same direction. Okay, so we'll just do that one like that. Okay, and this is kind of where you can do like a random design. Everything does not have to be, you're just going for coverage is what we're trying to succeed here. Okay, I think I'll do one more right there. And then you might have to go back in with the same stamp. You might find later that you want to do that. And then I like to use this one to really go around my edges. So you can just use that one for that. Okay. And then we'll go in with this one and just kind of a couple of places. I just like a lot of different things going on. And then we'll use this one. I think I forgot to stamp off on that one. Every time I try to do a video and I'm talking, it makes me mess up because I'm not concentrating on what I'm doing. You can just kind of use this one to fill in the middle. You just want a good coverage is what we're going for. And then, like I said, if you find that you want to go back in, maybe with the flourish, and do a couple right there in the middle, that's fine too. Okay. Then we're going to take and really go around the edge, and I like a dark look, and I even go in on my cardstock, not just making sure I'm not just getting just this piece here. I want to get it on that. So I just can be kind of messy with this. Just go all the way around. And the darker, you know, if you want to go around a couple of times, because I really like that look. So I really like to make mine dark. If you don't, you can choose not to make it so dark. It's up to you. So we'll put that out of the way for right now. And then we can get our piece of mint macaron. And it's kind of going to be the same thing with this. We're not going to go all over with this one because, again, you're only going to see the outside. So just right around the edges with this one. Okay. And that should be good for that one. We are going to sponge around the edge of this paper as well. So you just want to go all the way. And like I said, I'm getting it even on top, not just the edges, because that's what I was going for with this card, is just grunge, distressed. I think that's very pretty on there. I think that would be pretty just to leave it like that. Okay, now I'm just going to leave that open because the piece that we're going to cut our dragonflies out with, we're going to do the same thing with, guys. So, I don't know if you could see it in the card, but on the images, and it may not be showing up that well, it looks like the light may not be that great to try to catch that. But on the images, you know, up close, you can see it, that it's there. So on this one, we're not going to stamp off because we do want these to show up better on our dragonflies. So I just kind of randomly put that on there. I didn't use too many different designs on this when I stamped it. I think this one, and then I think I went in with this one and just kind of randomly placed it on there, because we're not gonna cut out the whole, you know, it's not gonna take the whole piece of paper to cut out those dragonflies. So let's go ahead and close this up. And then we'll move this out of the way and this out of the way. Grab our die. Bring in the Big Shot. And I just have my magnetic platform. You guys can see that. So I have the magnetic plate, platform, the cutting mat, and then I'm just going to put my dragonflies on there, and then the other plate. And then we're just going to run that through really quick. We'll put it over here. And slide that off, and you can already see that some of them are coming off. We're going to grab our little mat here, and then you just kind of work it around. Scoot up a little bit so you guys can see. I'll clean those out later when I'm done with the video. So you can just go back in then if you missed any of the pieces. I think my fingernail's gonna make them pop right out. Okay, I think I got them all. So then that's what we're gonna end up with, if you guys can see that. It's got a little bit of texture, a little bit of dimension there on it. Okay, now we can start putting the card together. Now if you wanted to, you could go around the edge of your tip-top taupe on this. I'm not going to, just because when they open it up, the edge on this side won't be distressed, so I'm just going to leave that like that for this one, okay? Now let's go ahead and grab our ribbon. Now I'm just going to use my aqua painter, and I'm going to take my ribbon, and I'm just going to get myself a nice little tail here, and I'm just going to tie a knot. Make sure it stays on there. And then tie another knot. Tie that pretty tight. Top it off. And then I'm going to cut it on the diagonal like so. And I already have myself a pre-made bow. Okay. And then you can just put it wherever you decide, whichever. Just cut that off. So whichever side, you know, if you want it on this side, you can just move it over there. If you want it on this side, you can just adjust it and move it over there. And I think I'm just going to stick with my original design and put it there. So I'm going to grab some Scotch tape, like so, and I just put it there. And make sure I have it straight. Do the same thing. I'm going to grab some Scotch tape. You don't want to pull too tight because you don't want your paper to bow. And then you can adjust it if you need to make it go a little bit straighter for you. And I just snagged it a little bit, so I'm just going to trim up my edges so it looks pretty again. If I can grab a hold of it with my fingers. Okay, now we can start assembling. So we'll just put a little bit of snail on the back of the macaron piece. And we're just going to center that all the way around the card. I feel like I didn't have it quite centered. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. And we're just going to center that on there. Now on my original one, I was going to remember when I did the video to kind of leave this light so you could see it better. But I think what I'm going to do is just grab... I think I'm going to grab my chocolate chip, and that's what I'm going to do the sentiment in. I don't want to do it in black because I want to stay with my color, so we'll just see how that looks. And I think it'll be dark enough, and it is. It is beautiful. So now you need chocolate chip, guys. Okay. Then we're going to take, let me grab, I love my little silicone mat. We're going to take our fine tip blue pen, and I just, let me make sure that you guys can see. I always forget, I get into what I'm doing and forget that I have people watching. I just kind of chose to do the bigger part of the body first And then I just went back in with like dots, just kind of like what I'm doing. You know, I tried to make sure that I got the outside of the wings because I wanted them to make sure that they were laying down. So I did that. So you can just go randomly, and it doesn't take very much of this glue, guys. Get that out of the way. And then you just place them wherever, however you want it to lay on your card. Okay. Now, while this is drying, what I'm going to do now, and you can just kind of hold it for a few minutes, and it won't take it very long at all for it to grab a hold of the paper. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is just take a small drop of the fine tip glue pen on each one of these guys. So I can cover this up. If you have the fine tip glue pen, you really do want to make sure that you cover it up. I've never had mine dry out, but that's what the instructions say. And then you can, I'm using the very, very tiniest pearls on here, if I can get them off. And then you just lay them right, you don't even have to push, just lay it right on top of that little dot of glue. Don't mess with it, don't touch it, and it will adhere itself down. Unless like that, and it gets stuck on my scissors. There we go. Okay, just don't even mess with it. Then the strip that comes, that's a whole strip. I just counted out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can do 6, you can do however many you want. And then I just picked them up like that and laid one tiny little strip right, oops, got that one a little bit crooked. Just place it right underneath your sentiment, like so. And there you go. I hope you guys like this card. Make sure that you visit my blog. It's bobbystamps.blogspot.com. And I just posted my class for Dragonfly Dreams. So if you guys are interested, all the information is on my blog as the supply list is. Thanks so much, guys. Have a blessed day.